Hello, everybody, and welcome on in once again for another lovely speed run of Season 5 tournament. This is lower bracket round 4. We got Riley, we got Cola, and on comms today we have Matt and Ponsari. How are you two doing?
Great. I'm expecting a great match. Honestly, it's kind of crazy how much history both of these runners have. You'd think this is like winners finals or something, but this is like losers bracket round 4 or something. It's crazy how stacked the tournament is.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Just Riley and Cola, they are strong enough to win the tournament, and they only see 13 against 40. I'm expecting a very close race.
Yeah. 13 versus 40. I mean, Cola has the most history behind him. I mean, 200 races is nothing to scoff at, but it's an extra 100 races for Cola, and the best time ever, which I guess doesn't really mean anything. It just means that you happen to race on a really good seed. Is a little bit better for Cola. The recent results favor Cola slightly, and overall, if we see the number of races that we've both participated in together, it's essentially a tie. It might as well be a tie. So I guess Cola has a little bit of the statistical edge, but Riley is 13th seed for a reason. I don't really know who to expect to win the race this time around.
Yeah, the players have a very different playstyle, so it also depends on what kind of seed we are getting today, who is going to be the favorite. I'm just very curious to see how everything plays out.
I mean, Zelda's Lullaby started. Who do you think likes that better?
Yeah, that's very hard to say. I think Riley is maybe the slight favorite when it comes down to understanding the logic. Although Cola is obviously also very good at that. Cola likes maybe to make some stranger plays that not many other players would do. It's just very hard to estimate how this is going to go.
I guess we'll just have to see. It depends on. We start as child, so maybe we hunt for a bunch of songs. With Zelda's Lullaby, we can get at least 3. A bunch of songs very early on. Maybe that's the way to go. Perhaps they'll go adult as soon as possible. I really don't know what to expect.
Just want to point out that these runners have played 1v1 against each other in the SGL tournament that was held a few months ago. I think it was the quarterfinals or the semifinals. Cola won that one, and Cola ended up in the finals against What Else Happened. So yeah, you can see that even though he is 40th seed, he is definitely capable of reaching far into a tournament.
And usually this is what I ask for a Frogs 2 seed, but I already got my wish. Every tournament, every season, we have to get a Frogs 2 seed. We already had the God seed the other day, where it wasn't just a Frogs 2 seed. It was pretty crazy. So I'm satisfied. Maybe a nice chilled 50 skull seed where we know we're gonna have at least 2.5 hours worth of playing the game while we figure the logic on the way. Maybe something more jetty. I just don't want to see it all come down to some kind of casino at the end. So I'd like one of the two extremes, either knowing from the very start that we're gonna be here for a while, say Nocturne in all dungeons or something like that, or just the jettest of jet seeds. So it comes down to execution and every micro decision.
We're about to see the spawn, so let's get going here.
Poncho bowling. Okay. It's
a pretty good start, I would say.
Yeah, it's a quick age change, so perhaps this time around we'll see our runners being less shy about doing more adult stuff early on instead of trying to do long cycles at a single age, depending on where the adult spawn is or how quickly we find Prelude.
Yeah, I think
of course, 40 rupees immediately and going.
Yeah, it makes sense to just get some rupees.
For songs like that.
Indeed, that's the plan of the early game. Just get your songs, see what else you get along the way, and plan from there.
Yeah, and after Long Ranch, it's probably like a valley into Lake Hylia, going into forest to check Zarya's song. So I expect some sync is gonna be happening for a while now. It's kind of like a very straightforward start, particularly with. Well, I guess a powerful song early on means that you have less of a reason to chase after songs so hard. So perhaps an early adult play will be what one of these runners goes after.
Yeah, I do expect to see at least the Kokiri Forest and the song in Sacred Forest Meadow. Here are some nice tunes that make the Lost Woods play even better.
Yeah, and we can check the Scythe Hyrule grottos as well, so along the way. So Cola finally getting some differences between the two runners. Cola's prioritizing Skulltulas more than Riley is. I like where Cola's mind is. That's a really quick skull. You don't wanna have to write them in later on. You know you're gonna get at least 20. Get it out of the way as soon as possible. And that's Storm, so we might see Well next to... With Zelda's Lullaby you can either grab or pick every single check, and you have bomb choose if you see a big check behind one of the bombable places. So yeah, that's... The Well is probably looking fairly juicy.
Yeah, that's right. You can full clear, or at least scout the bottom of the well completely, even if you don't have the bombs. But they do have bomb choose instead.
And Riley is going back to market, so is he going adult? Is he going to Kakariko? I think those are the two places. Well, a slingshot minigame first, I'm assuming. No? Are we going to see another 2-hour slingshot minigame? Is this one of those things again?
I think he wants to get some more rupees, and then he will head for Midos and Kokiri Forest and Lost Woods. But it's pretty pricey to do all the Lost Woods.
Fair enough, but if you're planning to do well, you're probably gonna be opening tons of small chests along the way, so maybe you don't trust that you get enough rupees in them. There's no really easy way to farm. If you want rupees, you can just jump once along. Oh no! Cola with the NAM.
He does get a free retry though. That is good at least. Otherwise he had to farm more rupees.
That is true. I guess there's... Well, during the day there's not 10 rupees inside Hyrule, inside the market, so... Yeah, that would have been a problem. Immediate well access, and we see a bottle in the windmill, so you know what's gonna be happening in chat. What Cola's heading at all, so maybe... Okay, Sora Scale in Frogs 2. Vigoron is dead.
I didn't see all the
Was that Frogs 2? Run chest, okay.
Run chest has a skill, that's also what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, I saw the scale, I didn't see what check. It was repeated and I still didn't see it. Okay, well, GC Foolish means that depending on whether or not it's a medallion, we might see it, we might not, which is rare. You usually expect DC to be one of the dungeons that everyone visits no matter what. Riley's doing the well play. I think it's more than reasonable. While Cola's prioritizing adult, which is probably fair. Nothing from Bombable, nothing in the big chest middle. That health is looking scary. Yeah, Riley's now concerned with the bubble because of his one hurt, his one heart remaining.
The runners do surprise me a little bit. I really thought that at least one of them would go to Kokiri Forest and Lost Woods, but Riley is really prioritizing bottom of the well first. Really hoping to get something out of it.
I mean, you have Zelda's Lullaby, you have explosives, you have everything you need to complete the well, so I think it's fair to just go for it. The question is, do you go after Kokiri Forest afterwards or not?
Yeah, that's a good point. It makes total sense to do bottom of the well now. I think the song in Strike Forest Meadow is really very good. And you also want to do Kokiri Forest as a child, because then you can get the vanilla Kokiri Sword chest. So I still think you should head there, but these runners have maybe other plans.
Well, it's definitely not a wait visit. We have to visit it at some point or another. Because we found the mirror shield, which we need to get one of our medallions. The thing is, even if you have songs to get in Kokiri Forest or something, they don't help you clear the well any faster. So I think going well early, particularly with Aziel and Storm start, it just makes sense. And we're gonna see Adult Kak from Cola's perspective. Oh, Steve is a big help, and it's a slingshot,
and that already makes the well play very good, of course, because now you can do an extra check in Lost Woods.
Well, I guess.
Yeah, but that's what these runners are thinking. They just want to get every little edge they can get, and if you do Lost Woods and you can full clear it immediately, that's of course very cool.
At this level, those kind of minor edges are probably worth a lot. So I agree with that.
So Cola will be able to get the bottle here soon. So let's see if he also likes to rush ice, as many of us are hoping or predicting.
Nothing on Vanilla Lens. Cola is picking up the bottle, which no, it wasn't necessarily a given. You probably do pick it, but
it's convenient that it also has bugs in it, so you can even do some more skulls if you would like to.
Or get enough rupees to buy that shield, which Cola currently doesn't have. By selling those bugs to the man, woman, person in green. I've never known what that person is supposed to look like.
I'm actually not sure that Cola will buy a shield, because I have seen Cola finish races without a shield. He doesn't like to buy one. I think he just wants to find one in one of the chests.
And he will as soon as he goes to the well. So nothing back here.
Oh, Cola already bought a shield. Oh wow, I didn't see that. And he changed his philosophy somewhere in the last few months.
Fair enough. Then he doesn't really need the money. He'll probably keep the box in case he has to hunt for skulls as a child at some point. But yeah, the well is definitely a place that we must visit. That mirror shield is required to visit, so it's not like it was a waste of time. Plus, even if slingshot is just one check, it's handy to have. It allows you to do better combat as child. It's one of the fastest projectile weapon that child has available to him. So if you're planning on staying with child for a while, it's definitely worth picking up. So yeah, I think overall it's very much a worthwhile play to do well. Adult Kakariko isn't paying off so much because we got Son of Time, which I guess it's okay.
Yeah, so the big question for me, at least, is whether Riley is going to Kokiri Forest before he goes adult. I think it's still a good choice just to get the song there. But yeah, I think Riley's already metagaming, because I've seen him do things that I don't really expect from him. So he might just play a little bit differently because he's playing Cola right now.
I don't think you're really looking for songs right now. I mean, we have Zelda's Lullaby and Son of Storms. Early on, we want movement around the overworld, so yeah, warp songs can be powerful, but going all the way to SFM to get a warp song just for overworld travel doesn't sound like a time save to me.
Yeah, but you also do Kokiri Forest and Lost Woods along the way, which you
that's what I'm saying. That the big reason to go into the Kokiri Forest and Lost Woods area is to get a bunch of checks out of the way, because you want the items, you want some strength, you want a proper bomb bag, you want hook shots, and then that can further the number of checks you have available, or at least make it so that you don't have to keep scamming the shoes, depending on if you find some bombs along the way. And maybe even for the hints, you want to know where your paths are, or what is foolish, as soon as possible. So I think this warp into Desert Colossus makes sense for Riley. This is an area where there's only really one check. Nairus Love and Frogs, probably Frogs too.
Yeah, these runners are not going to get that deceit. I'm curious to see whether Riley continues here as a child, to do some child stuff in spirit.
The very least he's getting the song. But yeah, he has slingshot, so he can climb. And there you go. Now he's definitely going first. With Minuet in hand, it's the obvious play, almost. And he has juice to check the fairy here, perhaps? I think he's gonna prioritize the bombable checks in Lost Woods over anything this out of the way. He'll probably check the fairy once he comes here as an adult. Although it's just the one check over here. Did we get to a good look on the arch? I didn't see anything.
Yeah, one person in chat thought it might have been Boots. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't paid attention myself. Ah, it was a recovery heart. Okay.
It's just a record. Okay. So nothing in the arch, so the fairy is all that's left to check over here. Yeah, Colas getting his adult, his Vanilla Minuet song. And it's a bonus. Okay.
That's always
For now, the song...
It's always a slightly scary song to get in the early game, because you might be thinking of GTG with not too much equipment. But these runners have now a lot of things to do still, so...
If you want to see what GTG with not too much equipment looks like, there's a race that I can't recommend enough, which is Cariosa versus Sponge. The other day, it was some legendary logic. It was something. It was definitely something. But yeah, it can be scary to see that hint towards GTG early on. We're gonna see.
So for our new people, just to explain what's going on for new people in chat, Cola is now rushing ice, which is one of the big memes of this game.
In the chat.
It's basically a play that is not really considered to be in logic. You're not supposed to do this yet, but you are allowed to do it. And Cola is actually spawning close to the ice area, and he's able to full clear it already because he has one of the bottles.
Well, Riley lost a bit of time to die by voiding out. Actually, it's not that much. Out of the worst case scenarios that can happen in Child Spirit, this is only the second worst. The worst is actually getting your shield burned, so he's doing alright in my book. It was just random bubble luck that decided to push him over the edge, but sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. But yeah, it seems that he's continuing the climb. It makes sense. Cole's struggling a little bit with the setup. He's doing a pretty different setup to what I've seen so many of the runners do so far.
Yeah, he has a little bit of problems with getting the setup at least first try. I'm sure he will get it in the next few seconds.
Okay, there's something in the child climb, and it's magic, which is one of those checks that you're happy to find. It doesn't really open up anything right now, but you don't want to be in the position where you're looking for magic later on.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not something that Cola will miss out on, I'm thinking. You will probably do Child Spirit at some point. And 50 skulls is dead on Cola's side. Always good to know.
And speaking of magic, this check is probably going to be magic locked for a while, but it's nothing. Okay. Another hint. Another repeat of 50 death. So if you want to know about 50 skulls, you have to come to Zora's Fountain. What is it with the repeat checks, repeat hints in the same area recently? It's been happening quite a bit in the last few seeds.
Yeah, it can be really scary not to have this hint. So let's hope for Riley's sake that he is going to domain at some point early. He doesn't have to worry about should I collect skulls or shouldn't I.
Because spoiling anything, I think it was yesterday's race. One of the path hints, we didn't find out what it was until the very, very end of the race. It seems there's nothing floating. Okay, let's try to see what's underneath the icy waters.
I thought it looked like a skill to me. It looked like a skill to me, actually.
Probably because if we didn't have the hint for Nehru's Love, I'd say that's Nehru's Love. But obviously it's not, so I'm guessing it's a scale. I just see the translucent blue tint of the item, so Fire Temple is path to Queen Goma.
That's a good thing to know.
We have a slingshot in logic, which means that Fire Temple has to at least lead us to our Kokiri sword.
That's a very good point. And if we don't find it in the early of fire, then these runners at least know that they have to continue to the back.
The central chest in GTG is dead, and Gerudo Valley is foolish, so it's a good thing that neither of our players went for the Gerudo play as child.
We still haven't found too much useful early game stuff. Usually you would like to find a hookshot or a bow or strength or bombs.
Bolero on Ocarina, so let's hope there's no hoverfoots on top of the volcano. Again. Kayak path to Dongo to gain
the Carico is the path to the Dongo, indeed. Is there a bomb back on skulls perhaps, or on chickens? That's the most likely scenario.
Honestly, I'd rather pursue skulls than chickens. I love most memes. Chickens is just not one of them. It's a bad minigame. I'm sorry, I said it.
Are you sure you want to make people angry in chat?
It's already out there.
If it's on chickens, then they will probably get some bomb back somewhere else. They have juice already. They can last pretty long if they use them wisely.
Riley can full clear Child Forest, right? He has areas. He has the slingshot. He needs 23 more rupees, but he can get that merchants on it all. So yeah, he can full clear those woods. Although so far it's pretty foolish, pretty barren. Let's see if the Ocarina game is worth the time investment.
Just talking about our Ocarina minigame for a second. There was a race that Cola lost because he refused to do Ocarina minigame 3 times. If he did it one of 3 times that he was in Lost Woods, he would have won that race. So these are the things that Cola is able to do in order to save some time, which in that case didn't work out as planned.
And speaking of which, seeing that pattern reminded me. The other day there was an Ocarina minigame in one of these races where the first 3 notes were down, right, left, down, right. So the very start of Saria's song in the Ocarina minigame. It wasn't acknowledged by anyone in chat or by the comms or anyone. It's like nobody noticed, and it's so rare. I was running the number and it was like a 1 in 1,000 chance or something to get that exact pattern. So that was pretty cool. It was close to it this time around. Obviously, getting it twice in the same tournament is probably not going to happen. But yeah, I like to pay attention to the patterns that we get in Ocarina minigame. I'm kind of superstitious with that. If I get something that's one of the songs in the game, or that's very symmetrical. I take it as like a sign of good luck for the seed. This time around it was pretty mundane, so nothing to say about it. Let's see if it's worth visiting Kokiri Forest as a child, because we're getting to see the one check that is only accessible to Child Link. And I expect Riley is finally going adult after this.
Yeah, he might
Nothing
very
here.
well. He might very well go there. He full cleared most of Child, and he's probably curious what adult will bring him. I'm still very surprised to see not any of the major items we hope to see in the early game.
Yeah, it's fairly like we're getting some utility stuff like a mirror shield, a magic bar, some slingshot. Nice to have items, but nothing that really makes you opens up the seed. We want those bombs. We want the hookshot. We want at least some strength. The Kokiri sword for at least a full dungeon clear. Something, but it's been pretty. It's not giving us much to work with. That's it.
Seeing a vanilla serenade on Cola's side.
Vanilla Minuet was
Was on Requiem.
Eponas?
Oh, vanilla minuet was Eponas. Yes. So we get to see River. Maybe there's the items that we need, because at least one of these checks is Sphere 0. And there's Riley following Cola into the adult world.
Cola doing the river as an adult, which is faster, but you don't get to do Frogs 1, which we can with Storms so early on into the seed.
Yeah, that's one of the trade-offs you want to make. Do I want to do River as a child or as an adult? If you have Storms, then child might be better. But sometimes there's no reason to be there as a child. So.
Valley is still foolish. And Lost Woods path to Rova, which is not for the Mirror Shield, so it's probably either a hookshot or a strength. Or bombs. We need bombs.
So that must mean that Riley didn't finish all the Lost Woods checks. Otherwise we would have seen it already.
He didn't do the merchant near SFM, I don't think. Because he only had 23 rupees left, and he wanted to do the slingshot game. And he still doesn't have the rupee, so he's not gonna do this still. And so he's missing out on the one item in Lost Woods that he definitely needs.
Okay, he didn't do anything with you, so there's a couple of boulders he still needs to check then.
Okay. Let's hope that it's not this one check that is the one that is path to Rova. Because otherwise he's gonna miss that for a long time. He might even just orphan it completely. Last location. Well, until we get any better warp songs, he might have to come through here a couple of times, so it's not like it's hopeless. Okay, that's a big chest. For Frogs in a Storm.
And Frogs 1 gives the Zora tunic.
Okay, well, I don't think we're gonna see Frogs 1 either.
So
and that's our strength, so that's probably path.
Yeah, but it's also out of logic so far. So where was the path to King Dodongo again? Wasn't that Kokiri Forest?
Kakariko.
Oh, Kakariko, yeah. Yeah, strength is of course very nice. It's one of the items you would like to find at least in the first hour, if not earlier.
And while Dodongo's cavern is barren, it's half of the lags check, and it's a medallion. You need to check it at some point. With strength, do you go in there? Do you wait until you have actual bombs? I'm not sure. I couldn't see anything because of the magic effect. I couldn't see if there was a big one, but if it's going into the center, there must be something. Okay, it definitely is a scale under the icy waters.
So that makes both of our scales hinted. One in on the bottom of Zora's Fountain and one in the Stinger chest in Jabu. So,
Which means neither of them is path. In case we find, well, OD is Bolero. It would be very rare for a scale to be path with stone water.
We're also guaranteed to find irons before we find both of the scales. Just a stick from Rolling Goron.
Let's see this check that Riley skipped. Okay, I hope he doesn't orphan this check for very long, because that's a hook shot.
That's
One in routing, man.
But I do think
Well,
that Riley. I'm quite pretty sure that Riley is still thinking about Lost Woods. He won't be convinced that the strength will be his path.
Maybe, hopefully. I mean, you will clear your path locations. But still, I want to say, like, CSMC, the chest size, that's 30 dead. Chest size matches content. One of the things that I keep seeing that distinguishes, like, differentiates the very best from just the very good runners is the routing of resources. Whether it's bombs, whether it's rupees, whether it's seeds or arrows. The people who just take the 1 second to take a step to the right and collect that 3 triple arrow drop so that later on they don't have to go back for it. Those kinds of minor stuff, because you don't really collect most of the checks that you get to see. There are many ways to run out of, say, bombs or whatever, and there's runners that have to start farming at the very second when they passed by 3 bomb drops. This is a skill that hasn't been tested for a long time, and some runners are still getting used to it. I probably overvalue it. It's probably not that big of a deal, but I think that it is something that our runners aren't still perfect at, because it's a very recent development in the way that we play these seeds. So this money routing, it's probably something that they'll have to learn over time, and something. Okay, Marcus is a foolish choice.
Yeah, so
fair enough.
It's about time we get to see what the path is in Kakariko to the Dongos. If it's the bomb bag, that will just put everything we found back in logic, and even forest is then in logic, and so then we know how the logic works for all the items we have found so far.
Yeah, Kola is about to get his first strength, and I think, yeah, Roma puts everything that we have in logic.
And the bow is path to Volveja. That is just possible for the key logic in Fire Temple. There's one point where you need the bow to continue sometimes. Doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go to forest to find the hammer.
Yeah, it's possible, and with fire being the forest medallion, and you know that you're not getting the Bolero of fire anytime soon. So I check fire as soon as possible to see if I'm hammer locked, to see if I'm bow locked. Well, even if you don't have all the items, if you're around the area, I think it's definitely worth going for it. Even just for the info, it's really valuable this time around. Because if you're not bow locked, or you just need some more items, perhaps that bow does lock it behind them. You might chase after horseback archery or GTG more strongly if you find that you're locked out of Fire Temple for now.
Yeah, I still think it can be a good idea to just go to Fire Temple whenever you can. There is a Kokiri sword in there, most likely.
It's also true. And apparently we're not... Well, it's just a 5-pack. But yeah, we got some more shoes, so maybe they're gonna last us for a little bit more. Riley's... perhaps... We didn't get anything out of this place, right? There's nothing underwater in the lake, just a piece of heart. And Cola setting up Scarecrow, which once again with Fire Temple being path and Forest Medallion, it's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, we are now. We now have
Go ahead.
some sort of idea how the seed is going to play out, at least in the early game. So it looks like a good part of Fire, Forest, maybe even Spirit and Deku. They're all opening up very soon, possibly. So we have some things we can actually start doing now. We have found a couple of items.
Yes, Pepperoni. I guess if it comes down to it, we do have infinite ponchos now, thanks to Salesman and Adult's Wallet. But it's more than just a little bit out of the way. We don't have any way to... Well, I guess we have a Bona, but that's still not fast. It's at least 2-3 minutes just to get there to get 10 more chews. And that's without counting, without taking into account the Rupee collection in of itself. So we still are looking for our bomb back. We still want to find some more chews in the wild.
Yeah, I haven't really paid attention to skull counts. It is interesting to see how many they have right now. It's probably going to be worth to check 10 and 20 as soon as you can. You don't want to rely on those chews forever. If you have less than 10, it's still very likely to find our bomb back there.
I don't think either of our runners is pushing for skulls very strongly. But yeah, with Market Dead, I don't think our child spawn is... Well, we want to be able to... Okay, that's 200 rupees. We want to be able to warp into Chain Change as fast as possible, so it is still useful in that way.
Yeah, Riley can now buy his hookshot 5 times, which gives him the long shot, if I'm not mistaken.
It's long shot, longer shot, longest shot, and then...
Longest shot. Ultra long shot.
Something like that, yeah. Omni shot?
There have been some voices who were saying that maybe we should make the long shot progressive as well, so that every time you get one more chain and you can hook farther and farther and farther. That sounds like a very terrible thing to code in the game.
If you think about the physics of how hookshot works and how quickly Link's arm should be separated from the rest of his body, I don't want to think what a long shot would do to Link. Let's not go there. I think the long shot is long enough. It's more about how you use it anyway. Only 2 skulls for Cola.
Yeah, that's really not too many. He just got...
And Riley is crossing, so he's probably thinking of getting more chews along the way.
Yeah, Riley's just going to protect himself against Bombek on chickens, what it appears to be. He does have the 200, so he can buy those chews. And he's probably also going to check out GTG after.
I mean, you have the bow. You have you have a Bona. You can do horseback archery. You have a bow and you only need 1 bomb for GTG. We're missing either the hookshot or hover boots in order to be able to finish the entirety of GTG without the toilet, other than the toilet. So yeah, it's a good play. GTG is a very check-dense location. We know the central chest is nothing. We found the letter in Forest Temple.
That's not an item you really want to find.
It puts ice in logic, so maybe Chad wants to find the letter.
That's indeed true, although there was not really anything in ice, and we also don't seem to need Jabu today, so letter is not something you really want at this point. We know there is a scale in Jabu, which is probably not going to be necessary. And Riley is making the brave choose, so he and he also knows how to get around in GTG without the hookshot.
One of the first things that I learned from Randomizer is that technique of baiting the Waltulas into attacking you, only to stop and have them stop, and they are completely blind until they return back to their original position, so you can just keep climbing. It's so satisfying, so reliable, so easy. It's one of those things that I wish I knew when I was a kid. I hated those enemies.
Yeah, most of us are not fan of spiders in general. Are there any big spiders in your territory?
No, not really. There are all kinds of creatures in my area, but thankfully no spiders.
So Cola, it might be slightly disappointed when he finds the bow. He probably would have wanted the bow in his first dip to forest. The bow is actually pretty accessible.
Yeah, that's all that he's really missing.
On the other hand, he can be back in forest very quickly with Minuet, so he's not going to be too disappointed.
Yeah, from well all the way back to the block room, there's not much difference than from SFM all the way back to the block room. So he's only losing like maybe 10 seconds at the worst.
Note that it's dark on Riley's side. We will not be able to do the bow game, the horseback archery game.
That is true. There's no easy way for him to change time quite yet. He has every other utility song except for Samsung. I've been seeing more and more of this like fancy bow shooting into the eye. I know that if you see target, you don't have the animation of going into Link's eyes. So it takes... If you hit the target super fast, it doesn't take as much time to aim and shoot. But I don't know, it seems really inconvenient. Like, even if you're very good at it, it's not like reliably able of hitting the target within 1 or 2 arrows. So I'm not convinced that it's okay. Cole's not going to find that bow before the Dongo's cavern. I don't think. Is Cola having some trouble with fish? Did he go directly for the central fish instead of the?
Yeah, it looks like he's aiming at some other fish than we normally see.
I don't know. Okay, we're not running out of shoes anytime soon. That's another 10 pack, I'm assuming.
It looked like a 10 pack indeed. I think he was on 15.
I thought he had more shoes than that. I mean, as far as win with magic, so very early on into the seat, so that's gonna be really handy.
Yeah, that's very good very good for Riley indeed. He can just put Frost here and leave whenever he wants.
That is also true. But he just bought 10 shoes and he collected another pack, which can't be a 5 pack because... Okay! That's
that's surprising.
Yeah. What was our path to the goo?
Oh, then is it the slingshot that's path then?
Fire Temple.
Oh no, wait.
I guess Fire Temple has a slingshot? No, or bombs for river access as child to get the beans? Fire Temple has to have one of those two things, right?
Yeah, this is very possible. Let's just think about it for a second. So fire is path to coma, but we have already slingshot and we have Rupee sword. Hookshot was bomb locked.
Yeah, we need either bombs or the hookshot.
So does that mean that bombs are locked behind hammer, and then maybe hammer is in Kakariko? I think that
it's possible right? It's possible that it's just available. That the bombs No, because
the bombs are path to KD, yeah.
The hookshot is available with hammer, so it can't be hammer. Hammer or bombs has to be in Fire Temple.
Yeah, but
so you definitely rush Fire Temple. There's something big in there.
I'm thinking that the hammer is in Kakariko, And the hammer locks the bomb back in fire, but that would work out for all the paths.
No, but the hammer then would give you the hookshot, which means that you don't need to go to Fire Temple to get the Kokiri sword, which breaks that path.
Oh, right, yeah, because hammer also opens the hookshot.
Right. I'm waiting for Fire Temple to just show itself. There is something big in there for sure. Have we seen the Foley hint? Are Foley skulls there? Okay, bomb locked, bomb back. There's no panic yet. This still makes sense. It makes sense. It's bomb locked or hammer locked, but whatever, bombs or hammer has to be in Fire Temple. And if it's bombs, hammer has to be bomb locked or hookshot locked. There's no panic yet. Logic still makes sense. It's all good.
So where do you think that the bombback is then? The first one, logically.
It has to be like the first chest or something like that in Fire Temple. Either the first chest or the giant room. The north chest in the lava room.
Yeah, that's
we're getting so
possible,
many so many big items that technically solve our path just with that are just locked by either bombs or hammer. So one of those two has to be in Fire Temple.
Can it also be Eponas that is path? Maybe for offers on big bows. Maybe Eponas is path in Kakari. No, wait, Eponas wasn't in Kakariko. What song did we get there? It was Requiem, right? No, it wasn't Requiem. No, what did we get in the windmill?
In the windmill we got storms. No. In the windmill we got
Song of Time.
Song of Time.
Okay, this is very puzzling for me. Maybe someone in chat has figured it out already, but I'm very confused.
I'm waiting to see what's in Fire Temple. There has to be something early on that is not bomb locked and not hammer locked. So it has to be one of either the first check next to the boss or the north check in the giant room, assuming we get a key. So there's not much choice. Something has to be in Fire Temple. Let's see what it is, and that will give us the info we need. And we finally get to see if we need OT for AD or we don't. Cora not picking up another heart before going into here for the health, the timer.
Cola does seem to have both of the tunics, so you will be able to just put on the tunic and not die.
And now that child spawn is totally useless. But well, let's see if we can check the top of the volcano. And Cola just won't let us. Come on, Cola, I wanna see.
I think he had to reset the timer.
He had 15 seconds left. There's nothing. So no AD today, everyone. I'm sorry. The bow was on top of the Dodongo's cavern, and also it was in GTG in the right side. No, it was the first room on the right, the Beamos room, I think.
There was one of the bows indeed, yeah. The other bow is on top of DC. So Riley following Cola into ice.
Like Hylia, path to Bongo. Perhaps that Kokiri sword.
That Kokiri sword might very well be the path.
Oh. Some time travel involved. This is Ocarina of Time. There's nothing rare going on.
I have really no idea
That's
who
not
is...
money. Not money. That's something we definitely want.
To be fair, I have really no idea who is ahead right now. Both runners are playing a completely different game. Apparently they're playing the same seed, but...
Yeah, it was very much synced up early on, but as soon as the divergence started happening, there's been two entirely playthroughs. It's entirely different playthroughs.
So Cola, of course, has the hookshot on top of Riley.
Cola, going to Fire Temple already, come on! I wanna see what this logic is. What? Whoa. Okay, like I said, Ocarina of time travel, it happens, it's part of the game.
That's just another magic available there for Cola. Very nice. That's not very good. No, not very good. Not very good for Riley. Yeah, there was another magic on Cola's side there on Trail Fairy.
Is it vanilla? Okay.
Yeah. So that's not very good for Riley, who found the magic there in Spirit somewhere, in Child Spirit.
It's not like they need magic for anything, and Riley wants magic for Forest Wind. So yeah, I don't think this is a big deal. The fairy slingshot is, well, it makes, well, still just as required because we need the mirror shield, but yeah, Cola finding all of his ranged weapons. It's only missing the rank or Banana, who may not grace us with his presence today, because Jabu is a stone and we definitely don't need the OT song, which is Bolero this time around.
Yeah, Cola's just going to open the skeleton with the juice. There's a very nice strat here where you drop one a bit after the other. You cannot light both eyes at the same time because then only one will count.
Yeah, the hitbox for the eyes disappears during the cutscene for the eye being lit up.
So I do think Riley needs to find one of these items soon. We probably will, otherwise Cola might build some sort of lead. Cola's route seems to...
I mean, we know that Dodongo's cavern is foolish, so he's probably just trying to get it out of the way. But I'm still waiting for Fire Temple. I don't want to know what the logic is. I want to make sense of this shit.
Yeah, I think you were right on the mark there. It's probably just bombs, right? In fire.
It's probably bombs. He probably doesn't need it, but I guess the info is nice. What if it's Hammer? And Hammer locks all those, because none of the checks that are bomb locked so far are exclusively bomb locked. Hammer also opens them up, so it's possible that Hammer is just that early on into Fire Temple. Hammer is the one that locks every explosive and all of that.
Yeah, you might have to wait a little bit longer for this, for your answer. I'm not sure. Cola might just go forest instead.
I know.
Of fire.
I know. Cola wants me to suffer. That's fine.
Well, we want the runners to suffer, so it's only natural that the runner also wants Jet to suffer.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. I don't know how long you have to actually hit King Dodongo. It took him a while, but he probably had another 10 seconds. This boss is a bit of a joke. And Cola, against all odds, manages to prevail against the mighty King Dodongo.
Yeah, Riley has a little bit of problem here to jump to the ledge. I've seen him struggle with this one before. And
I've struggled with that one before. This is not I started to learn a bunch of tricks a while ago, and some of them are easier than it looks. This is not one of them. The glitchless ice cavern jumps are difficult. They are tough. So full respect to anyone who can pull them off semi-reliably.
I haven't even attempted those tricks myself. I'm just postponing them until much later.
That seems like a reasonable idea.
Well, at least Serenade might bring him closer to the Theory Sword.
Possibly?
I don't think he has set up Scarecrow as a child yet, or did he? I
He
don't think.
did not.
I don't think I did. He
Now
did.
now with Serenade, perhaps his next child cycle he will. But yeah. Without the... He can't get to fishing without beans or hookshot, even if he had the Scarecrow set up, so... Perhaps now that he has 200 rupees he will go to SFM. No minuet? Okay. Maybe he's checking the Hyrule field checks. There's not much for him to do in... Okay, he just wanted out of a dungeon to check this spawn point. Did we see the spawn point for adults?
Yeah, I think it's the spawn point is in Zora's domain. He just got blue fire, so he will unfreeze King Zora.
Ah, that makes sense. Oh, that's convenient.
That's one of the things that Cola didn't do, so this might be somewhat huge, especially if it's important.
I'm starting to get worried about the very, very low Skulltula count. I know that we're basically down to 10 and 20, but Kakariko's path, and while we probably don't need... Well, no, I'm not sure about that. Perhaps we do need something Kakariko. I really don't know. Maybe I'd be chasing after skulls a bit more strongly than the runners are.
So some suspicion is on the hover boots in Kakariko for Fire Temple to go in logic.
Yeah, that's probably a very good option.
So now Riley is going back to Lake Hylia. What is he going to do? Is he just going to do some field checks?
He can't do child fishing, top of lab or lab. So yeah, he has to live here. He has to go to the field, because for GTG he probably goes to Desert Colossus and crosses. Right? I think it's faster.
Yeah, I think Riley seems like he's a little bit lost. He doesn't really know what to do. I think all his options are not that great right now.
Yeah, with no hookshot, there's just not a lot for him left to do. He might go to forest eventually, which is where he really needs to go. Those 17 rupees that he lacked in order to buy his hookshot when he was right next to it. Those are gonna hurt for a long time.
Yeah, it probably will not take very long until he has to go to Lost Woods, and then he will just get Bomback and Hookshot immediately after each other.
So far, Forest is looking boring as always. Nothing much of note.
Yeah, Cola seems to be building up somewhat of a lead here. He already is one medallion ahead. He has done a lot of forest already. I'm starting to get a little bit worried for Riley.
He needs to find that hookshot as soon as possible. He'll find it right next to forest, so forest medallion is the fire medallion in forest is probably going to be something that Riley pursues very quickly after he does. But I'm still looking for that. I guess Cola didn't get the Fire Temple path hint, because he never went to Fire Temple.
Yeah, but if Cola is making the same reasoning as we do, then he might also figure out that maybe there's a Bomback in fire, and he doesn't need that right now.
I still think... Okay, 40 skulls is definitely that. I think we knew that, but... Okay. Did we know that? We definitely know 30 and 50.
Yeah,
anyway,
we do now.
Like I said, it can be not bombs, but hammer that is in Fire Temple. So even if you think it's probably bombs, the possibility that it's hammer is something that would tempt me to visit.
Yeah, you have a good
Or
point
it can
there.
be iron boots, and iron boots lead to bombs. And you want iron boots. Or something, I don't know. Just because you saw what item is locking in your path, it doesn't mean that you can't make use of it, right? I go and collect it.
Yeah, but it's also very sensible to just finish Forest first, although he was in the area, so...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, you're in Forest, you finish Forest, obviously. But while he was in DMC, just a few minutes ago. Yeah, whatever. We'll have to ask him about that later on.
You have to be a bit more patient for your fire path to...
I know. I want this logic to make sense, man.
This is a patient game. See, takes 3 hours, so...
This is why I'm here commentating and not playing, because I lack the patience.
Yeah, and if you're not as good as these guys, you usually take 4 hours to finish, so that's even worse.
Siri, Cola can't find the hammer here. Well, I know. Okay, yeah, it's his sort of logic. Yeah, it's fair enough. How likely is that, though? And like I said, it's either hammer or explosive, so whatever is in Fire Temple has to be very early on. And I'm saying one of the first 2 checks. If it's not there, the logic doesn't make any sense. So, unless you just don't want to enter Fire Temple twice, for some reason, you don't really speed up all that much. If it's just bombs, fair enough. You're saving some time, because you already have a bomb pad. But...
I do want to note we just found a boomerang in the forest, so Jabu is now in logic, which is not really something you want.
Yeah.
I don't expect our runners to go there anytime soon, unless it's their...
Yeah, we've checked the rest of Zora's domain anyway, and Jabu is a very slow dungeon with very few checks. And one of them is hinted dead, so... I doubt Jabu is the first in anyone's mind.
They're probably going to last location Jabu if something is there.
But it is scary.
I think Riley's just using DC to think about what he wants to do next. I don't think he has very good options left. He has done a lot of stuff already.
You need to do it. Even if it's Baron, lags is a thing. Cola missing the gamer shot. It was a good try, it was almost there, but just a couple of degrees more to the right, and he would have got it. But it didn't work out. He recovers pretty fast.
Yeah, we really hoping that Riley goes to Minumet right after. Otherwise, it's looking very grim. Of course, Seed is never finished until it's finished, but yeah, Cola is almost 1 Forest Temple ahead right now, and also some items.
Will we see the swag tactics? Nice attempt. That's a strategy that I want to learn. It looks so cool. You jump on the small chest, and then backflip, and you basically are on top of the ceiling, but also fused with the ceiling. It's a weird thing, and you can backwalk through it and get to the door without waiting for the cycle. It's a small time save. It's mostly really, really, really cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen it before. Just in Season 5, that was the first time I've seen people do it. Maybe it's a recently discovered trick. But...
Yeah, this tournament was the first time I saw it. But it's definitely jumped very high up into the list of tricks that I want to learn. Even though it's not exactly the most useful. But you know, I like to feel cool sometimes. Even if I'm barely saving any time.
Yeah, the swag strats is what makes us come back to the game, right? There are plenty of those in this game.
You can win the race or the chat's hearts. And which one is more valuable, really?
The race, obviously.
I guess.
Winning is more important than participating, is what the saying says, right?
Well, I do agree with that, but participating is the equivalent of of trying to do the trick but failing or something. If you manage to be swag, you haven't just participated, you've done something cool.
Where does Riley set his Ferocious point? Is that in GTG? Because he wants to go back there? Or he just wants to collect some more skulls for the keg path?
I didn't see him set Polaris win, but I don't think I was paying attention when he left GTG. What happened with Cola? That elevator decided that it wasn't going to go down, and then he got off the elevator and it started going down? That was weird.
So Riley's looking pretty desperate right now. He's getting some skulls that you really don't want to do if DC is foolish. And if you don't have to collect skulls. He might even be pushing this.
Whoa, that's number 2. Yeah, I'd be desperate for skulls too.
Oh, that's not really looking good if he feels like he's needing the skulls now. I hope he hasn't forgotten about Lost Woods. She shouldn't have.
Without bombs or hookshot for such a long time, he's probably starting to think, okay, something in Kakariko is my bombs or my hookshot. But now time of day is in his favor. Now he can do horseback archery. He's hoping that he doesn't have to go anywhere. Maybe he'll go to SFM and get his scrub to sell him a hookshot very soon. Otherwise, he's going to start collecting skulls or worse, chickens, in order to try to find something that gives him some progression, because he's tapping out of checks.
In the meanwhile, Cola's just cruising through the seed. He's already now beating his second.
Second medallion dungeon, yes. Pot strats with Riley. Let's see if it's okay. Respect. Oh, that was close, but very, very good. Very, very good. Honestly, I think the pots did more harm than good in that strat. If you're going to be switching targets, you might as well start from the beginning. It's faster and you don't have to have those awkward angles.
Cola's going to play some tennis.
He's playing from the baseline. Those what are they called? Like volleys? Is it a volley when you strike from very far back?
No, volley means that you strike it back when it doesn't bounce first.
Oh, fair enough.
So basically all of them are volleys.
Fair enough.
That's the second medallion for Cola.
This is looking very dry as far as items. I guess not for Cola. Maybe it's because we just haven't seen Fire Temple. Once Fire Temple puts everything in logic, maybe it makes more sense. I mean, Cola has enough items to do quite a bit.
But before Fire Temple, we also need our cargo path to bring everything back in logic.
Yeah, I guess while Fire Temple is path, we don't have access to Fire Temple because Hookshot is locked behind whatever Fire Temple has.
Yeah, so logically we need both our cargo item and our fire item to bring most of it back.
Wait, you don't think it's possible that this is AD? No, Forest Temple has the rank, so it can't be AD for Bolero for Fire Temple access for the logic path. It cannot be. That's not a possibility. Thank God.
Wow, that would be very something, yeah. But we also need hook shots for water, so that can never happen.
I was sweating there for a second. The thought crossed my mind, and good thing that I put it to rest very quickly. So Goles is visiting SFM again before Riley goes there. Riley needs to visit SFM like now. I think this is a chicken's play. I think this is looking to me like he's looking for something to do in Kakariko.
Riley either needs to be bailed out by something, what is it, unexpected, or he just needs to go to Lost Woods. Every minute he doesn't go there is just making Cola go further ahead.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna see the Hyrule Castle Fairy, probably. And Skull here, now that he's chasing after them more seriously. Yep.
Only 3 skulls, yeah, that's not looking very good either.
Yeah. Another repeat hint. Okay, that's something we need.
That's also the path to Bongo.
That's the path to Bongo.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so what does Cola need to in order to finish the game? He needs a strength, he needs the hammer, and the hovers. And also mirror shield.
Okay, so it's definitely bombs in Fire Temple, because bombs lock all the other bomb bags and the hammer. And there's a long shot in the
shot for
okay.
Cola.
Yeah, Cola is definitely not lacking items. He has everything that he needs. We have both scales hinted.
So that means that the Kokiri's sword is hard pierre locked.
So
no, wait, you can also use the bean, of course.
Yeah, you can use a bean with the bomba. And our scales, where were the scales? One was Rocks 2?
No, the scale was in Zora's fountain on the bottom, and Jabu.
Jabu, yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely something that can bring Riley back into the game. This is a check that is a bit remote, and Cola might take a while to find that hammer. Because Cola has also a lot of bait right now. He can go to water, he can even go to Jabu, which he probably doesn't want to do.
Okay, chat, remember, if one of the first 2 checks in Fire Temple isn't a bomb bag, okay, wow, Deku is loaded. Absolutely loaded. And Riley's probably kicking himself right now.
Yeah,
finally he got his shot.
So this is where the comeback begins, at least hopefully for us, so that we can have a good race ahead of us.
This is a good play. He's gonna set up the Scarecrow. It's all coming up Riley right now. Or no, I don't think he's going. No. Okay, he has a spawn point in Poncho Bowling. Back walking there. I thought he might have just come here for, I don't know, wasting time of day while he heads to castle or something to go adult. But now he is setting up the Scarecrow, which he needs to get the Kokiri sword, to get everything that is in the Deku tree. And Cola missing the 1 cycle in Queen Goma, which is one of those tricks that looks easier than it is. With the slingshot you can just crouch stab 3 times. There is some fairly tight timing if you wanna do the not 1 cycle. Queen Goma. I can't. This is one of those things that I practiced for a while, and I said, you know what? If I have a slingshot, I get the 1 cycle. Otherwise, I'll hope that I get it.
Yeah, so I think we're all a little bit confused about the logic still. There has to
I
be,
think it makes sense. I think if we have a bomb bag in the next to the boss, or next to the boss in Fire Temple is a key, and the north chest in the giant fire room is a bomb bag, everything is in logic, everything makes sense. Once we have we don't have hookshot or longshot access to the Fire Temple, we don't have Bolero, so we're missing hover boots to have Fire Temple access. So we need to find hover boots and a bomb in the first 2 checks of Fire Temple, and everything is in logic. Everything makes sense. This is not a messy logic seed. This is just an unsolved logic seed. We're still in the process of finding our items. Something has to point to Fire Temple, and that something is hover boots for Fire Temple access, because we don't have the possibility of getting Bolero without accessing Fire Temple for the first logical bombs that unlock the other 2 bombs and the hammer and both hookshots. So yeah, one of the early sphere checks has to give us hover boots. And that solves the logic entirely, as far as, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah. If you're right, and you might well be, then Cola might be close to go mode. He probably gets his hammer in this child section. He might just find his hovers in Kakariko, if that's indeed the case.
He still needs irons.
No, he doesn't need irons.
Well, oh no, never mind.
He needs mirror shield, of course. Bottom of the well,
needs mirror shield. Which was... Where was mirror shield?
It was in bottom of the well.
In well, yes. Yeah, once he gets the well shield...
If Cola is thorough in his child section right now, then he might just be in go mode. That's what we
he needs to get the hovers, and those hover has to be in a very early sphere. They can't be bomb locked, they can't be hammer locked, they can't be hookshot locked, they can't be boomerang locked. Can they be letter? Can they be behind the letter? The letter was in...
Both letter and boomerang were in forest.
Okay, so it can't be behind the letter. It has to be very, very early on into the scene. It can't be behind a scale either.
So I'm going to step away for a minute. I'll be back shortly.
Okay. Don't worry, there's plenty to talk about. I mean, we're about to go into Forest Temple, the most exciting dungeon in the game. Especially when we've already seen what's in Forest Temple, which is nothing. Because, well, it's bait for Jabu, which we know we don't need to go to. All we're missing is hovers, which is definitely not locked by Jabu, so everything what we get in Forest is worthless, which makes it extra fun. And there's my answer for where the letter is. It's the Stalfos room in Forest Temple. Yeah, let's see if Cola does climb. There is nothing here for him, and he wasted a bunch of juice. He barely has any left. Okay, nice save. Whoa, Riley got the moves. I didn't think he'd make it. That was a very brave aim for his hookshot, pointing it very much to the right of the chest, and essentially dooming himself to fall into the water, but somehow he made it work. That strat with the hookshot, which you can do for free with a long shot, but that strat with the hookshot is the literal first trick that I learned once I got back into playing this game when the randomizer came out. I've been playing this since before Season 1 even happened. I've watched every tournament, every season. Every season has been blessed with Prox 2, at least once, except I think Season 3 or 4. There was one season with no Prox 2, sadly. But yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I love seeing the progression of how the randomizer works. I love seeing the changes. These path hints are honestly my favorite thing that they've changed, even more than the chest size matches content. Cola is not doing well. He went at all without checking bottom of the well. Is he thinking Season 1, speaking of the past, where bottom of the well was always bait?
Yeah, it appears that Cola just likes to do progression first. He just wants to know if how much he can do in spirit. Maybe you'll find
that makes
something
sense.
useful here.
he has Prelude. It's not like changing age is a long time commitment for him. He might just do Spirit Temple and then go back to Quell. Quell is definitely very dense with checks, and he can check them all. So I doubt he's going to take a long time to get there. I still think Cola has a big advantage over Riley. Riley needs to do 2 more dungeons.
Yeah, so Riley needs to do the half a forest, which takes him like 8 more minutes. He has to do Deku, which takes him a couple more minutes. But yeah, this is one way for Riley to come back. As long as Cola doesn't do his child checks, then Riley has a chance.
That's a very big if. I don't see Cola putting off well too long. And like I said, if these runners are following the logic, hover boots have to be very early on into the seed. What is Cola chasing after then? The Mirror Shield. The Mirror Shield can be in Spirit Temple. But it's the only thing that can be in Spirit Temple. Because, like I said, bombs has to be one of the first 2 checks in that temple. Or can it be like lens and bombs are in... No, bombs can't be in Ocarina minigame because market is barren. No. Does it have to be bombs directly in Fire Temple? I think so. I don't think there's anything else that can be in Fire Temple.
Yeah, we will see how it plays out when they get there, which is not very soon. Maybe Riley will do it after Forest, I can imagine that.
Yeah, Forest, like we said, it has a couple of items, but none of which are useful. For us, we know where Mirror Shield is. We know that only hover boots are... We're only looking for hover boots, and they have to be in a very early sphere that is not blocked by either Boomerang or Letter. So anything that we find in Forest is useless, and I doubt there's anything in Spirit Temple. We've basically completed our inventory. We might get some fire arrows or something.
Also, you have to realize that those runners may not have the same information as we have. We can see both of the runners. We have seen more hints.
True.
We are not entirely sure what information the runners have. So maybe the play that they're making that makes sense with the information that they have right now.
57% of chat thinks that chickens has our hover boots. You guys are evil.
Do they think or do they hope? What was the question again?
I think it just asked where are the hover boots.
Ah, so they're just hoping the hover boots are there.
Pollos, los pollos.
So
Well, they are gallos and gallinas, more than pollos.
Cola is getting Magic 2 here, if I remember correctly.
To be fair, my guess on where the hover boots are is 10 or 20 skulls, which is probably the more evil if you don't go out of logic, because getting 10 or getting 20 skulls without going out of logic, without anything that is locked by bombs, which is everything, is still pretty evil. But yeah.
So I'm also suspecting.
Like I said, nothing.
I'm also suspecting that Cola will do GTG after Spirit. I think it makes sense to
grab some bombs from that pot. There's a pot there that spawns bombs. You can do the same thing that you do in Tongo's Cavern, where you break the pot, exit the room, enter the room, break the pot again, and you get 2 bombs from it, 2 bomb drops. He's down to 5 bombs and like 2 shoes. I'd try to collect a couple of them, just in case. Like I said, this season, I think one of the least spoken about and most valuable skills is the management of resources. The ability to just keep your bomb count high enough, keep your rupee count high enough. It sounds easy, but without opening many all of those random checks, it's harder than it looks.
So Cola will not be able to
Maybe
fulfill
Cola
his
can do.
spirit because he doesn't have the mirror shield. He also doesn't have Furor's Wind, which Riley has. So he will need to play the song to get back into spirit later. He does not. He decides not to
nothing in
continue
my
further
hand.
there.
There's only one more check for him to do, which is the boss key check. And without Furor's Wind, that's a big time commitment, I guess. Now Cola is down to 4 bombs. Does he have enough bombs for what he has left in the game? I don't think so. Just Fire Temple alone, you need like... You want... Wait, for Fire Temple you want a lot of bombs, more than for Volvagia. So yeah, I don't know why he's keeping the bombs. Probably hoping to find some of them along the way in GTG, which fair enough, it's a good play.
I also suspect he has some juice left. He's probably going to be fine.
He's going to find a lot of juice here in GTG. I think there was at least a 10-pack or something.
Oh yeah, there was a 10-pack on the ledge there in the Song of Time room.
And you only need 9 juice for the Volvagia strat, so I think he does have plenty of explosives. It's the gamer shot. Neither of our runners got the gamer shot. It's really tight. It's a really tight timing. There's a like a 1 or 2 frame window at most in order to get it.
Riley's down to 3/4 of a heart. It might be tricky to finish this dungeon up.
What does he have left? I don't think he's losing health to Amy or Meg. And Phantom Cannon. Let's see, do we get some swag strats? No, we're collecting some health, hopefully. And it's just arrows.
I mean, usually,
so
normally they are fine indeed with just this one heart. But yeah, you're in a tournament, you feel some stress. It feels safer just to have at least the ability to take a few hits.
Oh, definitely. Are we going to see more of GTG? I'm thinking Cola probably full clears GTG at this point until he finds.
Yeah, so this is a good opportunity for Riley to come back in the game after Cola is done with GTG and Fortress. I think Riley will have caught up most of progression.
Yeah, this is a very. I mean, I'm thinking Cola does GTG into well, but that's still a lot of time that Riley has to catch up. This is looking like a very close race. Depends on how long it takes for Riley to get his Kokiri sword, because he still has to go to Lake Hylia to collect it. And I'm not sure. Well, there was a path hint for Lake Hylia, right?
Yeah, there was a path hint for Lake Hylia.
Shadow to Bongo Bongo.
So Riley will definitely prioritize that path.
Yeah, that makes sense. So he'll probably be there pretty fast. I think this is very, very close now that Cola went to GTG.
Yeah, the hammer that Riley finds that his Joker or his ticket to win, to come back into the race. That's the one thing that Cola needs to find.
And I think the Mirror Shield is the thing that's hurting him the most.
That's also one thing he needs to find indeed. When does he go back to bottom of the well? That hammer that gave Riley chances again.
Yeah, it's this GTG play that's given him the time that he lost early on to not having the hookshot for so long. So like, Riley wasn't doing checks in the most efficient way possible, but the most efficient way possible when you have bombs and hookshot is so much better than when you don't. Those two items are the most powerful in the game by far, bar none. And Cola had them very early on. Riley, he had juice, and a couple of them. He even went out of his way to buy a 10-pack, but no hookshot, so that cost him a lot of time, and he's making it up with this GTG play from Cola. This is looking very, very close.
So one thing I would like to note is that Riley was staying mostly in logic throughout the seas, and Cola has been very far out of logic.
That's fair, but you know, if you're keeping track of where you find each item, which it's difficult for us, and we're watching from the outside. If you're playing, it's even more difficult.
Yeah, it's super hard, but you have to remember all the items, even where you found the second bomb or second bow. All these things you have to remember.
Right. So if you can do that, going out of logic isn't a problem as long as you remember where you got everything.
Cola trying to use the door to kill the Woofos, but that doesn't work, unfortunately.
I don't think he was trying to use the door, but yeah.
That would work.
I think he's just scared of dying. He only has 1 1/4 hearts. And the wolf has decided to stick his back to the wall.
Yeah, that's also part of Cola's playstyle, to orphan a couple of checks here and there. He just does the thing he wants to do the most, and think too much about what is efficient sometimes. He's just still a very good player, of course.
So Cola has to go child, check outside Hyrule Castle, and check the well. And Riley needs to check adult fishing. And everything else is along the way, right? And that's all they need for go mode.
Yeah, for Riley, most of the stuff is on the way. He just needs to find hover somewhere. We think it's in
on top of hovers, of course.
But other than that, everything is going to be on the way. He will find light arrows when he does fire in the crater wall. And everything else is in
hovers and the Kokiri sword. In Lake Hylia. Adult fishing. Skull Mask is just a red rupee, and he's not checking the other one. Okay, this is good news. If he does adult fishing, which I'm assuming he will. Yep.
Yeah, there's Hylia play, indeed.
He's setting up here and probably headed to fishing immediately after. Can you hit the angle is too narrow? Yeah, okay.
So Riley is just about 10 minutes in progression behind, and Cola will still be in GTG for a little bit. I think we're getting to almost even.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I'm assuming Cola does go child immediately after this. He'll go. He will probably check the market ferry, but he doesn't have a quick warp to Kakariko, so maybe he doesn't. We're still missing Nocturne. We're talking like we have Nocturne. Where is Nocturne?
Yeah, Nocturne is believed to be in Temple of Time after the Fire Medallion.
Okay, medallion. Well, that's no problem then.
It can't be on Burning Keg because Shadow is needed for that. Cannot be OT.
Because it's Bolero. Yep. And there's only one more song in the game, so yeah, it's definitely.
We know where Prelude is. Where was Prelude again? Which of the songs didn't check yet?
Prelude was.
Oh, Crater. Yeah, you didn't check Crater yet.
Okay, that's the Kokiri sword. Riley's only missing his hovers. Where is he going? I think he's checking the Hyrule. Oh.
Yeah, he's
that's a bunch of shield flicking.
He's checking the lab,
and
then he will go child, I think. It's a lot of hiking for him. He doesn't have Prelude yet, so that's going to lose some time.
Grab the shoes, Cola. Come on. You have to give Alvagia. Fire Queen is always nice to have.
Mirror was in bottom of the well.
Apparently Cola is too good for choose.
Yeah, he's even skipping the choose. That's wild. Yeah, especially with only 3 bombs in your inventory.
I mean, even if he finds everything else that he needs, immediately, one after the other, all the items, is picking up the shoes not faster overall, given that you have to defeat Volvagia at some point? How many shoes does he have left?
Yeah,
I don't think Cola Penny.
Cola might be one of the only players in the player pool who thinks skipping choose there is a good thing. He doesn't do anything that's not fully required, like opening small chests.
I'm not even in the tournament. He has 1 chew left. 1 chew and 4 bombs.
Certainly
That's
a question.
crazy.
Certainly a question for the interview if he ends up joining.
Definitely. So Cola, why do you hate bomb shoes?
He probably doesn't hate the bomb choose. So what's Riley doing? Oh, Riley's going. He's going to get his prelude, which will save time if he wants to go back child. And he's going to do fire. So there's your way of the hero going to show up soon.
Bombs on the first or second chest. If the first is a key, we may not see the second for a while. If at all, it's possible that...
How many gift subs if you're wrong?
I'll give you a sub.
You give me a sub, okay. So you're not too sure about the whole situation? You can also give 10 to chat.
I'm sure that one of the 2 first jacks has to lock the logic. I'm looking. I think it has to be bombs. But we're not going to see him. We're not going to see it for a while.
And do you mean the first 2 checks that Riley chooses to do, or do you mean the first 2 checks that are not hammer locked?
The only 2 that are available in logic without bombs. So none of these. It's near boss and north in the large room.
Okay, clear. Oh yeah, we still have to think about skulls. So Riley is on 9 skulls right now. How much does Cola have? Did anybody pay attention to that?
I don't think it's better than 9. These runners have avoided skulls as much as they can the entire time. And skulls might have the whole goods.
Cola has only 5. Wow, that's also not too much. So do these runners maybe think that the Kakariko path has already been fulfilled with the song? No, that's probably not the case, right?
And maybe it has been, but hovers can't be too far into the logic. It's not one of the 3 gag checks, it's something that's very early on.
Okay, we have 1 key over here. Is our temple hammer locked? Is one of the questions. Riley and Cola now side by side, giving the high fives.
Cola is finally entering the fire temple, like I wanted him to do like an hour ago. What's in here? A key. Okay. So there's still the north check in the large room.
So you have one more hope.
I'm gonna be so mad if it's not bombs. I'm gonna be so mad.
Yeah, your life depends on it now.
Yeah, man, it's life and death. I don't know if my life, but my sanity, perhaps.
And your pride.
And my pride. Do I care more about my pride or my sanity? I guess sanity.
That's a big chest there.
Thank fuck.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
That was exciting for a second.
Everything's right with the world. It all makes sense. See, chat, you guys were worried. Oh, this logic is too confusing. It was obvious from the start. We all knew. No one was doubting. Not even for a half second.
Just ask Ponsari about your logic. He will answer.
He will answer. I'm not sure he'll give you the right answer, but this one time it worked. And there's the boss key. So I think Riley's heading for the boss directly, and I'm not sure if Riley has figured out the logic. He knows that hoverboots can't be in here because hovers can't be accessed. You can't access this place without hoverboots in logic. So he's probably going to do Volvagia and leave. I'm not sure Cola is going to just leave. I guess he's setting up Farah's win for a faster return once he finds the hammer, because he knows he's not gonna get Bolero. Very clever. I hardly ever see anyone use FW that way. I like it. By the way, I was looking into because I've seen people divide the Volvagia or Volvagia thing over and over. I was looking into the original Japanese spelling for the bosses' names, and it's surprisingly close to the English, the way that we pronounce them in English. So, for example, Barinade, if I saw that spelled in Japanese, that would read Barinade. But in Japanese, it's actually spelled Barinade, so it expects us to say Barinade in English, which I thought was a cool detail. Volvagia is definitely Volvagia, not Volvagia in Japanese. But I also found that while most of the names are really close between the Japanese and the English version, it's Cola heading for the well. By the way, I'm just...
Yeah, while you
talking about
explain the lore, Riley is having troubles getting into Volvagia boss room, which he managed to do right now. Cola is probably heading to Mirror Shield.
Fair enough.
And we might also get to see our path in Kakariko.
Hopefully. I mean, we don't have Song and it just turned night. We are going to see 10 skulls, I think. Yeah, there's enough. More than enough. But
yeah, we are 1 hour and 14 minutes. I think both players are metagaming that the other player has collected enough skulls.
Maybe Dumpe is holding out on us and he has the hoverboard.
But that doesn't count as Kakariko. This is Graveyard.
Oh, true, we still have a Kakariko pass. Okay,
there
and that's
go.
Volvagia done.
So Riley will be picking up Nocturne after he comes back to Temple of Time.
And doing the... well, looking for his hoverboots. Probably, possibly... No, if he goes to Shadow looking for his hoverboots, he doesn't have the full logic, because Nocturne is behind the bombs and you need hovers to get the bombs. I mean, Nocturne is behind Volvagia, which you need hammer for, which you need bombs for, which you need hovers for. So if he goes to look for the hoverboots in Shadow Temple, he's missing some hints. Otherwise, he should be checking the very early spheres, like Cola is doing.
I can't imagine Riley going back into fire. That does not really make any sense.
No, not into fire, into shadow. Oh, he doesn't have Dean's fire. Where's Dean's fire?
I think all the items were in Deku. Dean's fire, strength 2.
Oh, fair
also,
enough. Right.
Also, there was also a third item there, right?
It was strength 2, the long shot, and Dean's
long
fire.
shot, yeah. There's 10 skulls. What is it going to be?
Just some health. So we're down to chickens and 20 skulls. No sun zone for us to quickly turn into today and check chickens, so we're collecting some skulls, probably.
So the bows were just very accessible this seat. 10 skulls on top of DC. And one more was also pretty easy to find.
GTG? The Vimos room?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's good memory. Okay, so Kola will get his mirror shield, then he will probably finish Spirit. Yeah. Or will he also pick up the Hyrule Castle Ferry?
And by the way, Riley got his light arrows, so that's a trip that he doesn't have to make later on. And yeah, he should be heading Child soon enough. I think he's just clearing this stuff while he's in the area. Because he doesn't have Bolero, so he can't come here later on easily.
This is also where you might see the difference in playstyle for Kola and Riley. Kola just prefers to do progression. He doesn't mind switching ages here and there. He doesn't like to do checks that are a little bit out of the way. Hyrule Castle Ferry is an example of that. I'm starting to think that Riley is taking over slowly but surely.
I mean, Riley's about to go to the Go Tree and get everything. It's just about who does chickens or who collects 20 skulls the fastest.
Is it just now that Riley knows of the? Is it just now that Riley knows of the lake?
Namaha in chat. Strength 2 is in Deku. Deans is in Deku. Hammer is bomb locked in a grotto, if I remember correctly. Where was it?
No, Hammer is in Hyrule Castle Ferry.
Hyrule Castle Ferry, yeah. I know it's behind. It's locked behind bombs. That's the info that I needed to make the logic make sense in my mind. Of course, Kola just got his mirror shield. There's nothing else for him in Well, but he's going to full clear the place probably since he's here.
And if we understand the logic well, and I think we do, then hovers must be on 20 skulls or chickens.
I think so, yes.
And that's all we need to know in order to finish the game. So it feels like we are in no mode already.
Yes, is no mode when it's down to 2 checks. Is it technically no mode?
Yeah, I would say so. There, the checks are very close to each other. You can basically discard much of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not casino. It's something in between.
For Kola, it's a casino for Hammer. For Riley,
for Kola, it is, yes.
It's Riley still has some progression to do. So in his mind, he's still very far away from Go, but he will just get all his items here.
I mean, once he finishes Deku, after he gets everything, and I mean everything that he needs, he's probably going to head to Kakariko as soon as possible and try to finish skulls and chickens. And if chickens has the hover boots, like most of our chat thought at the time when we made the poll, and then Riley has a big advantage right now, a huge advantage. Well, I think Kola has done more of Spirit Temple than Riley, so I don't know how much of an advantage Riley has. It depends on how much how long it takes Cola to check Castle Fairy chess, the Castle Fairy check. If he gets his hammers early enough, this is probably still very close. Probably, if once he's probably going to play Prelude out of here. If he checks the Castle Fairy, then this is very close. Otherwise, this is a huge advantage for Riley.
Yeah, for some reason, ironically, Prelude is actually getting in the way of Cola finding his check.
Cola is heading to adults immediately, so I think this is a huge advantage for Riley. If Cola is not checking Fairy Castle now, when is he going to check it?
Yeah, Cola really needed to find that item in his disappearing child section, and now he will just keep going back and forth between adult and child, and starting to look very bright.
They basically have a dungeon in terms of progression over each other, but Riley has Volvagia and Cola has half of Spirit Temple, but Riley is essentially in no mode. He knows where to get the. He's immediately checking for skulls. Now that he got Strength 2, he wasn't going to get the Skulltula in the vines. He got Strength 2 and he said, oh crap, all I'm missing is hover boots. Let's get as many skulls as I possibly can to finish the path in Kakariko and go beat Gun. So yeah, I think Riley is pointing in the right direction. Cola is probably going to fall farther and farther behind until he checks that one single check in Hyrule Castle, the Hyrule Castle Fairy, which sadly locks the Fire Temple, which has our Forest Medallion, which locks our Nocturne. So yeah, the rest of the city is locked behind that one single isolated check that Cola didn't do when he was right next to it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I was just explaining that having Prelude here is basically hurting Cola. Otherwise, he might have just spawned from Market and checked the ferry at some point. But when you have Prelude, you just want to go child and adult whenever you want to do some progression. So there's not really a reason to go back to Hyrule Castle Ferry.
I think the fact that he was checking well also hurt him with that, because if he was checking overworld checks, he might have. It seems that we're having some problems with Riley's stream. At least I can't see anything. Okay, it's refreshing now. Okay, enough time. Time travel, it happens. Don't worry about it. Anyway, yeah, I think if Cola was outside of a dungeon, he may not have warped, and instead he might have safe warped and into Bonchy Bowling to check that one check. But because he was inside bottom of the well, the quickest way to get out of it is to play a warp song. And since he's playing one, he played the one that led him to the next place where he wanted to check, which is Temple of Time. So maybe that also played a role.
Cola is starting to finish up Spirit. Let's see if he does the swag strat here. There aren't too many players in the field who are doing the swag strat for this room.
That was kind of like an in-between. It wasn't quite the swag strat, but it was super fast.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. He hit the sun immediately when he dropped on the floor.
I think he shielded forward in a straight line and the pot knocked him to the left. That was different than the usual swag strat, but looks pretty swag to me.
Yeah, if you can pull it off like that every time, then it's definitely the fastest strat available.
I give him 2.5 claps out of 3.
2.5 claps out of 3. I have never heard that phrase.
Yeah, in terms of hype and swag, it's like, it's not quite 3 claps, but it's almost 3 claps.
So that's why Riley's going here for the skull. I was wondering what his plan was. He's on 12 now.
For the skull and to set up Time of Day, although he wants to do chickens. he really doesn't want to do chickens apparently. If he wants to go there at night. Okay, so he's doing his skull collecting before going child. He probably wants to do all of Kakariko in a single
swoop.
Yeah.
Well, I think in Riley's mind, his early game was pretty rough, so he's probably still thinking he's behind. So he doesn't want to do chickens when he feels like he's already behind. Yeah.
You never assume that the other runner has done chickens. Come on. I think when you have Nocturne and Prelude, you go do chickens, and if you need to do 20 skulls, then you go and collect them.
No, it's usually the other way around. I think normally you'll get your 20 skulls along the way, but for some reason these runners have basically avoiding skulls since the beginning. And
I mean, that is true, but what I'm saying is that since you have Nocturne, it's okay to have to go to Kakariko twice. And it's more likely that the other player has not done chickens than he has not done 20 skulls. So doing chickens as your way to achieve your go mode is probably the safer bet. I think. I might be wrong here. I'm kind of.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a good idea to if you are a child, then 10 into chickens into 20 makes a lot of sense. But now Riley,
I mean, you can go to Kakariko and check two out of your 3 checks right now, and then go back and lose like a minute and a half changing age twice. Or you can collect all the skulls, waste 12 minutes before going to Kakariko for the first time, only to check all 3 checks at the same time, and then probably just getting the Horboots in one of the checks that didn't need you to spend like 8 minutes collecting a couple of skulls in random places.
But I think what Riley is hoping for is that you can just collect some skulls along the way here in Spirit, and then check the skulls as an adult, and then he doesn't have to go back child anymore. He can just stay an adult for the rest of the game. I think that's what Riley hopes here.
That's fair. He does have Spirit Temple left. Okay, and of course, once he ends Spirit Temple time of day, is perfect to go to Kakariko and have plenty of times for chickens. You know what? I respect it.
Also, certainly an interesting question for the interview: how these runners were thinking about skulls during the seed. At what point they started prioritizing them.
Definitely. It seems that we're getting double Spirit Temple, although Cole's probably just... is Cole going to check the random checks? I guess he's in Hammer Casino, so he will definitely check the mirror locked. What?
Yeah, for Cola this is
what check? Ah no, he already did the mirror lock checks. I was thinking he already did Roba. It's just the child, the Sunroom.
Yeah, this is pretty much a disaster for Cola. The entire seed is open, even the stone dungeons, and he's looking for one item that's totally unhinted. So
this is like 3-4 minutes for a single check. Cola is in full desperation mode, it seems, because I mean, you're in casino mode, it makes sense, no bet is a bad bet, but if you're checking the 4-minute bet, the 4-minute check, it seems that you're running out, at the very least.
it looks very grim for Riley an hour ago, but the tables have turned completely. The hammer was the game changer. Cola seems to be last locationing that hammer.
Okay, it seems that he's heading back to child, hopefully. This might be the hammer. No, it's just lax, which...
Strength 3 on legs.
Strength 3? Do we have an OGC hint? No. That's been every single seed prior to this one, this week.
Well, at least Cola's doing the right thing, but he should do that thing when he's a child and not as an adult.
hopefully. Does he collect the Skulltula? Nope. I don't know what to think about that. Cole doesn't have 20 skulls, or anywhere near 20, right?
So the hammer cannot be in shadow. Just to answer a question in chat, the hammer cannot be in shadow because shadow is locked by the hammer. You need fire to complete fire to get Nocturne.
Does this help him line up time of day for chickens if he goes Hyrule Castle Ferry into Kakariko? If he goes child at night, he can't exit the market, so he'd go to Forest or Lake Hylia or something. If you do this and check Castle Ferry, then go to Lake Hylia, take Bora Gaibora back to the castle, and then go to Kakariko, you probably do reach Kakariko during the day, yes. But I think I think you'd rather go child. No, he's not checking the Hyrule Castle. I think you'd rather go child during the day directly, so that he can just exit the market and walk to Kakariko without having to walk. Colas is really not thinking of that one check.
So Cola's going back to fields.
Probably to Kakariko, to the chickens. It's the night just started. I think he's going to have to wait, and he wouldn't have to wait if he did the Hyrule Castle Ferry. So he's checking La Rivière, as Cariosa said the other day.
So what didn't he do in River yet? I think it's just
I think he doesn't have the hint for Frogs 1.
He does have his Zora tunic marked on his trackers, so he must have gotten Frogs 1 already then.
He's keeping this call too. I don't get it. We're going to have to ask Cole about what hints he had, because
I think this is just a Jabu
we're
play.
missing something. I guess.
He will get at least a scale for his efforts, but it's not the thing he's hoping for.
I guess getting the hovers now doesn't do anything, because even if he does get the hovers, he can't do Shadow until he gets his hammer, so he's still in Hammer Casino mode. So fulfilling his logic doesn't really help him. So he's not interested in that. That's why he's going for random checks instead of finishing Kakariko, I guess.
I can also see Cola thinking he is behind and he needs to make some sort of play, and then Jabu is of course fine. If you think that you're behind and you have to do some checks that the other person didn't do yet.
Yeah, it's if you're in casino mode, it's like every check is reasonable. We probably know that bombs lock hammer. I think Cola knows that much, but this is locked by bombs because our scales are both bomb blocked and we need river access. So everything that he checks here is something that he needed to he needed bombs for, so something that can contain the hammer. If you're in casino mode, this is a reasonable play. Sadly, it's the wrong
for sure.
play.
Yeah. From Cola's point of view, this is a very reasonable play. But yeah,
Happy 2 hours, everyone.
Unless something very strange happens, I'm starting to think it's Riley has this game.
Yeah, this is definitely Riley's game to lose. He's essentially in go mode. You know what? I was poo-pooing Riley earlier for collecting skulls instead of doing these 2 checks. But I realize now, I've matured, I've grown up. I respect him a lot more now because he's doing everything in his powers not to do chickens, and that's a play that I can respect.
He's just hoping to find it on 10 or 20 skulls, and then he doesn't have to go chow again. I think that's the whole strategy here.
I'd rather spend 8 minutes collecting skulls than 3 minutes collecting chickens. So I respect Riley. I do. I really do.
Yeah, we have the utmost respect for all of the runners in Season 5. They are just all incredible.
Well, obviously, I don't mean that way. I mean, I respect the play, the choice he made.
Yeah, of course, I didn't mean any harm there.
Yeah.
So Riley is also on the Twin Rover fight after Cola finished that already 10 minutes ago.
Colin getting more sticks are in time for Javu, which is never... You're never sad to see, but... Still, that's gonna be a long time that Colin's gonna waste in a dungeon that leads to nothing. He doesn't know that, he's still looking for the hammer, but... Us with our omniscient camera, with our full knowledge of where everything is in the seed. We still don't know where hovers are, but we're pretty sure.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see. We have the Carico path in for basically the start of the game, and we are now 2 hours in and we still haven't seen what it is. We kind of know what it is. But you would expect that path ins, you always rush those. Unless we are super tunnel visioned, I think hovers have to be in Carico at this point. Hovers were our logical access to fire for the bomb bag, and that leads to everything else.
Literally everything else. I mean, bow is fear 0. Slingshot, I think, was available without bomb bag. I don't remember where it was. I think it was available without bomb bag.
Sorry, what?
Everything else. Slingshot.
Slingshot. I think there was one in bottom of the well. I'm not sure if it was bomb block there, and there was one in TNT.
There was one in bottom of the well in the big chest in the middle. So yeah, it's available without bombs.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. A summary for chat for those of you that joined later. We need to get an early sphere hover boots so that we get access to Fire Temple, because Fire Temple, you need to have either Bolero, you need to have a hookshot, or you need to have hover boots. Our first logical bomb bag is in Fire Temple, and AD is Bolero. So the only way to access Fire Temple is hover boots. Once we get hover boots, we go to Fire Temple for our first logical bomb bag. Behind bomb bag is both hookshots. It's Kokiri sword. It's hammer. It's the mirror shield. No, the mirror shield is available since the start. But
yeah, it was bottom of the well. Yeah.
There's 2 strengths at least, maybe 3, because Lax is behind bombs and the Deku tree is behind bombs. So at least 2 strengths are behind bombs. Bombs open up the entire seed. Once we get them, we need hovers to get the bombs, because it's the only way that we have to access Fire Temple to get the bombs that get us every other access to Fire Temple. It's slightly rude, but it's not the worst, and apparently we're doing some chickens.
It's not 20, so yeah, looks like we have a chicken seed. Let's spam your chickens in chat.
Today. That's what I have to see. Alpha Mario spamming his 7 chickens. Not 6, Pisonian. Not 6, Beezer. 7 chickens. There you go, Mel. Guys, come on, it's 7. You know how to count.
That's strength 3 on light arrow cutscene, yes. That's one of our
Dog.
hidden skills.
Now you're doing it on purpose, just to rile me up. Much better, Pisonian.
Look at how beautiful chat is right now. All these chickens.
Chat is trying to meme me. Everyone's posting different numbers of chickens just to try to trigger me. But you can't trigger me, chat, because I'm already triggered. Because we have to do chickens. I don't care about how many chickens you spam in chat. We're doing chickens. That's the problem.
Are you emotionally able to finish the seed, or should I continue the rest of the seed alone?
I think I can handle.
Of course, a huge disappointment for you.
It's you know what? After the God seed the other day, I'll cut the Zuderbots some slack. You can put in a chicken seed every once in a while.
So Riley's doing the chickens. Would he think he's ahead right now? I don't think he is. I think he will think that Cola might be done any second now. He's for sure hoping that this hammer is his ticket to win, which in fact it is.
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, Cola has been avoiding the Hyrule Castle Ferry check like the plague. He's been right next to it like 4 times already, and he hasn't checked it, even though he went all the way to the Spirit Temple just for the Sandblock room. So, I maybe he's forgot about it. Maybe he's just.
It just wasn't a very good check.
It
just wasn't a very good check for Cola. He always needed to walk up there for like a minute, and then yeah, he had other things to do that were more promising.
Yeah, but he's done it for other checks. That's what weird. Prioritizing. I mean, the Jabu play makes tons of sense. This is a bit out of the way, but given what he has left in the game, it's relatively dense with checks. So I think it is a good play. It's probably the best play that he has left. But he's done some random one-off checks, and he's essentially walked past the Hyrule Castle Ferry. So I'm not trying to say that he's made a mistake. Obviously, it's very unlikely. It's very unlikely that he is there, and it's very unlucky that that's the case. But I think he's orphaning the check essentially. I think we're gonna get his hammer as last location. Maybe he's even forgotten about it. I doubt it. I think these runs are too good to. I don't think he's.
There has been so much bait for Cola. There are so many other things that are much more promising than Hyrule Castle Ferry.
That's true.
He does know that it must be bomb locked, which is basically the entire seed right now.
I mean, he's been ahead for most of the seed, and he's gotten behind because Riley got the casino item. There's your hoverboards. That's everything is solved. Everything makes sense. We're in go mode for Riley. But yeah, it's just unlucky that he lost the casino race. But what I'm saying is that I think he's had a couple of opportunities to do Hyrule Castle Ferry, so I expect him not to check it until he just decides this is the last time that I'm going to be child, which is probably this one, so maybe we'll get to see the hammer very soon. That's a healthy seed. It's almost an entire row of hearts. You don't see that very often in this season.
Especially for Cola, who never likes to open small chests. So all of the boss hearts were basically outside of these small chests.
Wait, this is a loser bracket game. This is the end of the road for Cola unless something goes terribly wrong for Riley.
Yeah, unless Riley loses a connection, I have a hard time seeing how this can be turned around. Sorry to say for the German fans.
Cola. Is he going? Is he doing volley? It's foolish. I don't know if he got the hints though. Maybe the boulder and field checks. Is he getting even more money than 200 rupees? What?
Yeah, maybe he's buying blue fire for King Zora. He hasn't done the check yet.
I mean, over 200 rupees, there's not much else. He already has every t-shirt, I think.
Yeah, it must be the 300 for the blue fire.
That's a bet. That's a gamble.
If he just goes out of market the other way and checks the ferry, then he can continue the game. Also note that he could have checked King Zora much more earlier. The spawn is right there. He could have done it after ice.
He was checking if he had an empty bottle, I think. That was the pause. And we'll see if he checks the castle ferry. He does not. Like I said, it seems to me that he's either forgotten about it or decided that if it's there I've lost. He's really acting like he's decided that's not a check that I'm doing. It seems to me because, like I said, he's gone out of his way to check some really far off one single check, and for some reason the castle ferry is not one of the checks that he's done that for. So I'm pretty sure that Cola decided to orphan this a long time ago, or forgot about it. I don't think that's what happened, but maybe.
Yeah, it just has been a very rough experience for Cola for the last hour. He's just doing checks left and right, but he's not really finding anything that helps him.
I mean, casino's never fun for anyone, so.
But yeah, the early game was just so good for Cola in all possible ways that there was so much things open for him. Also all the bait dungeons. And now he's just gambling on a few out-of-the-way checks in order to somehow win this game still.
Is Castle Ferry literally the only check that Cola has left as child? I think it's possible.
Yeah, I haven't really paid attention too much on that, but yeah, it looks like our Castle Ferry might be the last one.
He full cleared forest very early on into the seed, and except for Skull Mask, which was hinted that. He did the Gu and Jabu, the domain checks, Lake Hylia. I think it might be literally the only check that he has left as child. So I don't think he's going to get it at all. It's just orphaned.
But where is he going then? He doesn't want to go to water apparently. Is he going back to GTG for some checks?
GTG, maybe field? I don't know if he finished everything there.
Field could be a thing.
Well, he has chickens left, so it's not literally the only check that he has left.
Yeah, we were saying like an hour ago that if he just was a full clearing child, then he would probably win. And yeah, that's basically what happened. If he had done the ferry and if he had done chickens, he would have been in go mode very early.
Yeah, he had a very big advantage, huge advantage.
If he full cleared child there, he might even have come close to the 2-hour finish time.
Honestly, probably.
But yeah, if you know where all the items are, then it's not a game anymore, right?
Yeah, it's never a jet seed until it is, and it's never over until it is. If you're not in go mode, you haven't won the seed, and Cola had just one item left. He was definitely ahead for a long margin because of the early hookshot and early bomb back. And little by little, Cola kept going to the wrong places, which were probably the correct places in terms of check density, and they were smart placed. I'm not saying otherwise, but it just so happened that the dice decided to roll the way that they did. The goddess of fortune smiled upon Riley when looking for the hammer, and that spelled Cola's doom this time around.
Wait, is Riley skipping a key?
What did we?
No, someone in chat, Mara says, Riley, you need that key. Is Riley skipping a key there, or did I miss something?
I'm not fully paying attention. I was paying attention to Cola, so maybe. I don't think he did.
No, he probably didn't. Just something I noticed in chat. So how much time do we need to finish the seed? So let's say 8, 9, 10 more minutes in shadow. 6 more minutes in the climb.
I don't think it's 8 more minutes in shadow. This is up to 30, almost certain.
But you do have to make the boat trip. You also have to check the back, possibly. Bongo in the cutscene.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, 230 is I think a very good guess.
I'm guessing under. Are you guessing over 230 or are you guessing under 230?
Yeah, it's going to be really close to 230. I'm not going to make a guess. I'll take the one that you don't take. If you say sub, I'll take over. And look at Riley skipping double defense there in the pot.
I mean, at this point, they have 8 hearts. It's basically done. Bongo does like 1 heart of damage if he hits you. Ganondorf fully heals you before the fight, so you probably win health during the fight to Ganondorf. There's not much reason to pick double defense. And there's the iron boots.
Oh hey, that's why we didn't do water yet, of course. Yeah, we couldn't even do water if we wanted to.
Yep. Once again, for those who joined recently, one of the scales was locked behind iron boots in the icy waters in Sora's domain. Well, Sora's fountain.
Yeah, the cold scale was hard, the iron slot indeed.
So until we found iron boots, there was no water temple access. Or lab or anything like that.
Let's not forget that these 2 runners are absolutely top of the competition. Although Riley,
like we said early on, it's crazy that this is losers round 4. There are still, I think, 2 or 3 more rounds. No, there's 6 more rounds in the losers bracket. 6 more rounds in the losers bracket. So there's still a lot of tournament left. I mean, every time a round passes, half the players leave. So there's not as many games left. But in terms of how many times you have to win, there's quite a few games that you have to win still. And yet the level of competition that is left in the tournament is crazy. It's crazy high. So, it seems like we're getting our marathon hammer.
At least Cola knows how to continue. But yeah, it won't feel great basically last locationing this one.
Sadly, he needs the hammer to get Nocturne, so there's no fast way to reach chickens. So he probably wants to do chickens until he's finished with Fire Temple.
That's another good point. He needs to H change a couple of times again if he wants The quick routing there.
Does the manager hold the key? Do we have? We're missing the boss key still, I'm assuming, since Riley is not heading directly to the boss. Where is Cola going? Indeed, the manager holds the key, as always.
Yeah, usually we have the boss key by now, but now we only... Now it's the boss key we are basically chasing.
Oh, that didn't look like it hit everyone. Nice. I used to hate those things, the hands, when I was a kid. Because if you miss, if they grab you, if you don't kill them fast enough, they grab you and they regenerate, and you have to start all over, and you spawn more and more hands every time. It's
Yeah, I think
one of those
bottom,
very annoying enemies when you're not that good at the game.
I think bottom of the well was the most scary for me when I was a child. Just look, walking around there as a child. All these walls that are invisible, and those sounds in the background.
I'm so proud of chat right now. They're learning to count to 7.
Don't
Anyway,
tease them.
yeah.
They might spawn random numbers again.
Yeah. It seems like Call is about to be in go mode. Oh, at least there's that. Yeah, the only thing he's missing is Nocturne, which he'll get once he defeats Volvagia. He has Pharaoh's Wind set up in Fire Temple, so that Volvagia tree is going to be super fast. But Shadow Temple and a boss fight ahead that Riley is, so I don't think this is still within Kola's reach. This is a race for Riley to throw, but Kola is still going to get a very decent time.
That's the final medallion for Riley. He can now go up to Ganon's castle and beat the game. Yeah, so usually I add 6 more minutes after the cutscene finishes for the last medallion, especially if you have prelude.
So yeah. It's looking like sub 230.
Yeah, I would say it's looking like a sub 230 from here.
Yep. Sounds are hard, I guess.
We don't have Bigorn Sword, that might make it a bit more complicated.
Honestly, Bigorn Sword saves some time. If you miss the one cycle, love the Keto mask from Kola.
Kola at least is having fun, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
He might still be salty because he feels like he's not doing well, but at least he's still having fun.
Yeah, but Bigorn Sword, it's one of those things where, yeah, technically, if you do the one cycle in Ganondorf first try, you don't really save time from equipping Bigorn Sword, because the time that you save from equipping hitting Ganondorf 5 times is basically the same time that you lose from equipping Bigorn Sword and then equipping Master Sword again once you reach Ganon. So it's for ease of fights. I guess it helps with the climb. The climb is much faster with, well, a little bit faster with Bigorn Sword. Depends on how trolly the Lizalfos or Dinolfos, these are Dinolfos, decide to. If they jump back like they did right now, then yeah, PGS is a big help.
Yeah, BGS is so overpowered. I think it should be removed from the game for these top runners. They know how to beat the game without.
Honestly, I've been thinking, and if ice arrows had the same rate of fire as regular arrows, I think ice arrows would see a ton of use, even with the magic cost.
I have seen Marco pulling off some nice strategies also in this room with ice arrows. You're just freezing the stealth foes and you kill them immediately.
Yeah, they deal like Master Sword jump slash damage to those guys because you can freeze them. Ice arrows. The problem with ice arrows is that they deal 4 conditional damage. They deal 4 damage only to enemies that they can freeze and Volvagia. What's cool? There's a strat to do the 24 health, 28 health. How much health does Volvagia? No, 24 health to Volvagia. It's a BGS jump slash is 8 health. Every time that you stun Volvagia is 2 health. So if you stun Volvagia and do a jump slash with BGS, then you hit Volvagia once with the ice arrow, and then you do another stun into BGS jump slash or a crouch stab with that stored. You defeat Volvagia. It's fairly fast. It's probably comparable to bomb strats, and if you're low on bombs or if you don't have bombs or whatever, it's a really fast strat. I enjoy doing it a lot. It's very low RNG. It doesn't depend on whether Volvagia trolls you. I'm sure that there will be a point in which ice arrows are somewhat useful, but you need bow, you need ice arrows, you need magic, and you need to use them on specifically a certain enemy. Equipping them takes a long time. I think they are less of a meme item that we make it out to be. I'd like to see some experimentation with them, but then again, I get why they're not really used.
And Riley arrived at the cannon fight, just a few minutes away from his win. Advancing to the next round.
Ganondorf, as he's called in Japanese. Not cooperating, smashing the ground instead of wanting to play tennis.
He needs 10 hits for the 0 cycle.
I think that was 9.
Yeah, he needs another round to kill the boss. Yeah, it was 9.
That's the 10. And
Meanwhile,
now we're getting ready for some bacon.
Oh, 2 more minutes left on Riley's side, hoping not to get sniped. The sub 230 looks a bit difficult now, though.
Yeah, probably. I'm not entirely sure how long all of these fights take. This is something that I've been paying more attention to recently. Yeah, just the other cutscene alone, I don't think this is sub 30, sub 230.
Are there any people in chat who would like to ask the runners questions? So I have a couple prepared myself.
Cola, why do you hate Choose?
I did write that one down, indeed.
Good.
But I'm giving you the credits for asking if he would like to come in.
Okay, get your GG's ready in chat.
3 more hits. Give some GG's in chat for Riley, who has played well, had a rough early game, but managed to catch up on Cola after finding that hammer. Very well done.
And of course, GG's to Cola, who played fantastically the entire time around. He just, for some reason, decided to orphan the one check that happened to be the hammer.
Also, GG's to Cola for putting up a great fight and just being unfortunate with the hammer placement.
Yeah, fun race. It seems that Cola isn't going to continue. It looks like a forfeit. I don't blame him. I mean, when you get a casino at the end, you either win or you don't have much fun. And even if you win...
Welcome Riley and welcome Cola.
Yo,
Hello,
GG's to you
guys.
both.
Oh, hey. GG's Cola.
GG's, Riley.
What a race that was.
Yeah. This was something for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We were also very confused in chat at a couple of points during the race. How did you experience the logic?
Well,
the logic. That was awful, the logic.
basically for the first hour and a half, logic is just thrown out the window because it's so hard to like. So my mindset, because as soon as I get the KD path, the CAC path to KD, I'm like, okay, there's just an early bomb bag with DC Foolish. You have like Market Foolish. You don't care for the bomb bag. Bomb bag is pretty irrelevant for most of the seed, so you don't really care for it. And then you just do things and do things and do things, and I was getting nothing. Like for the first like hour, I got my first hook shot in Lost Woods at like 105. So it like even then like okay, well let's just chase that. So
Wow, we must have had like drastically different routes, I think.
You have.
yeah.
Yeah, at some point I even said during the stream, you were playing the same seed.
Oh.
Yeah, Cola went to Lost Woods very early on and he got the hook shot, so everything from there on looked entirely different to what Riley did. Riley did everything else but the hook shot.
It's not that I didn't do them on purpose because I was like, okay, I won't waste my choose here because I don't know what I really want to do with them yet. And these two checks were like somewhat okay to come back to, especially like with how much stuff I had left, like over in Goron City and all of that. But then even when I passed by Adult, I was like, I kind of want to keep my choose for like the mountain stuff.
You only had 23 rupees anyway, so...
Yeah, exactly. I knew, like, both times I passed by, I didn't have enough money to get both scrubs. Like, the one in the Lost Woods, under the bridge, plus that one. And then, like I said, I just put it off forever, so I reversed, I bought shoes, I did GTG. The win there was nice, but, like, obviously it led to really much nothing. And then after that, I got the bow and GTG was what tripped me up the most, because I was like, okay, like, bombs put that in logic. It's not a big, like, bombs are pretty early, because DMT was Path to Volve. And then I get only nothing else. Like, you get the magic later, you're like, oh, what the heck is this bow path for? Like, what?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read into the bow path too much, to be honest. I just assumed it was gonna be magic for Spirit, and it wasn't, so...
Yeah, but like I said...
That's kind of why I also chased after the Ritus letter after that, and did Jabu as well, and yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't end up very nicely.
After I got my hook shot, the seed was pretty straightforward for me, though, because after that I just did Forest. After Forest, I went and set up Scarecrow, because I was like, okay, like, I don't want to, on the off chance, I knew I wanted to go Fire. Because I already had the hammer at that point, because I got it before the hook shot, so... I did a long adult, I did GTG Ice, and then after Ice, I went Child. I was like, okay, I'll start getting Skulls, just in case it's not, like, Bomb Bag, and it's, like, something that leads to Bomb Bag, which could have been pretty crucial, obviously, that's what it was. So I save quit, I got the Skull outside, and then Castle Fairy, got Hammer, I played Minuet, and then I got my Bomb Bag and Hook back-to-back. I'm like, frick, like, that's really bad. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think if I do Castle Fairy before playing Minuet, the seed is definitely mine to win, but I just didn't do it at that point.
I mean, you're on average a very aggressive player, so that's that's an easy check to skip, which is like a reasonable check to skip, because it's pretty long on average. I mean, it's a sometimes hint as well. I mean, we got them pretty early, but...
It's especially easy to skip if Market is foolish, let's be honest. It's kind of what played into it, so...
Yeah,
And then I had the prelude, and you never go in there.
What else I'm trying to think? But yeah, because I get the big turning point for me was getting the Kakiri sword in Lake Hylia because I didn't have the light path to Bongo either, and then I get K sword. I'm like, wait, hold up, like, what's in fire? Like, what the heck can be in fire? So then I like go down adult fishing. I do the rooftop, and then I'm like, I just play minuet. I like obviously I'll still go fire, but like I'm like thinking, I'm like, it has to be something that locks the hook shot because otherwise, like, there's no way you can get there, or like even like
Yeah.
beans, I guess, because like you need something to go to river. Obviously, you know both scales. There's a scale in Boomerang Chest it did and Icy Waters, which is pretty funny, but you knew at that point that had to be like pretty deep in the sphere, so you knew you didn't get a scale for river as well, so for beans. So you're trying to think, I'm like, it's just gonna be bomb bag and fire. Like it's like the only logical explanation.
Well,
then,
I had another idea at the time, which was that it was just going to be a slingshot in Fire Temple somewhere, and that's path to Goma somehow.
I had a really, really early slingshot in the well,
Oh,
which
I
was
didn't
in
have
logic.
that.
Yeah, so yeah, I had that slingshot like 6 minutes in, and it was in logic in the well, so I didn't put too much thought into that. And so like I go into fire, I get my bomb back, I'm like, yep, got it. And then I got as soon as you get the long shot in Deku, you're like, how the heck? Like this logic was insane though, because like yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think the slingshot in the well was the chest that is in vanilla, the big chest in the middle room. So that's in logic from the start.
Yeah.
Well, with just Son Storms. But yeah, Kola, I've been wanting to ask, why do you hate chews? And what I mean by this is there's a 10 pack of chews. Well, there's some chews in GTG that you walk past twice when you still have Volvagia to defeat.
Oh,
You
at
had
that
like 3
point,
bombs left. You had 1 chew. Why didn't you pick up those chews?
I don't know. I don't do bomb shoe Volvaja anyways, right? I'm just doing bomb strats every time, so
Fair enough.
I don't really have a point of picking up the cheese at that point, so it's just wasting 2 seconds.
Yeah, no, if you're not doing Bonchu Volvagia, then I guess there's no use for them at that point.
So one thing I was also curious about, of course, the two of you have different playstyles, and which we saw during the game. Was there a lot of metagaming involved? For example, I saw Riley skip the skull in long range.
I mean, I know Cola is like very like anti skull, not anti skull, but he's like very aggressively against skull. I kind of play the same way where I really tend to not pick up skulls. Like even the Lon one, I'm like, yeah, I kind of like wasting a stick on that early, and like it's. I mean, it's not like a slow skull by any means, but it's not like a must get to me in my mind. Like I don't know. So I
With
just
skulls,
decided.
with skulls, it kind of depends if you have the big skull hints early. Like if you have 30 and 50 already, then like whatever, you don't have to pick up skulls anymore. Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't put as much stocks into 10 and 20 skulls as a lot of people do, because I tend to usually like pick up the super easy ones on the way for later. Like it's usually not a big deal, but yeah, obviously in a seed like this, it was super scary.
Yeah, for sure. Like if the hovers are just sitting there. I don't know, the hovers still didn't matter for me. What mattered is the hammer in the end, so
Yeah. Yeah, hovers were my go mode, but it were hinted. Like it's so weird. Like it was one of the first path hints I had was path to KD, but I never did it until the end.
I had it pretty late, but I don't know.
Maybe a final question from my side. There was some discussion in chat whether the argument "I'm not going here because if it's here I lose," if that's a consideration for.
But
For the castle ferry, yeah, I guess kind of, because like why would I waste time to go there if my opponent probably went there? I'd rather, after doing Jabu, of course, did the worst checks to maybe get bailed out, but it wasn't very likely at that point, obviously.
I mean, I don't tend to metagame too hard. Like, I try to keep track in my mind of what they could have skipped or could have done, or like, but I don't like usually try to play too hard off of that. Like, I know Cola's a pretty big. He's a more aggressive player. He like tends to skip skulls, but I'm not going to change my playstyle too much around how my opponents play. I just try to play my own game most of the time. So
I think that's the correct call, to be honest. You just play your game. If you play to your opponent's strengths, you're just playing a game you're not used to, mostly. So, I don't know.
Yeah, usually your opponent is better at playing their style than you are at playing their style. So going for your own strength is usually the right choice.
I guess unless you're considering yourself very much better, then you could play to your opponent's play style, I guess.
I guess, but I don't think there's anyone left in the tournament that you can just stomp in that.
Yeah,
at that
exactly. That's not happening anymore.
If you definitely like, it all depends on how you feel. Like, if you feel like you're unfavored in some capacity or fashion, then yeah, making those kinds of gamble is totally reasonable. But it's so difficult to make them accurately because the information you have is just so wildly inaccurate, and it's just off of what you think, which can be completely wrong. So,
I mean, if you can make it accurately, it's not a gamble. It's just the right play.
Right, exactly. But making that okay, I'm doing this, and if it's not there, then it's just like, yeah, like our matchup in SGL, Colo basically did exactly that, and it worked for him. So, then he beat me
exactly.
Well, there's nothing much more to say from my part. I guess, Cola, this is sadly your last race in this tournament. So at least from you, I'd like to ask you what do you think about Season 5? What do you think about path hints and Chesside's master content? And if there's something that you're looking forward to in the next season, or what are you going to be doing in the near future?
Well, I definitely enjoyed the settings with chest size and both the path hints as well. I'm looking forward to maybe getting some settings where either you could like start with an item. That would be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just spitballing.
Yeah, the seed was pretty barren early on, so maybe that would spice it up. That's a neat suggestion. But yeah, there's a lot of people still ahead of you, Riley. This is losers round 4. I was checking the tournament. There's 10 rounds of losers bracket, and then the grand finals. It's not an easy road ahead, and you have at least Sponge on your path. So, what do you think of your chances? What are you hoping for in future races?
Last year for Season 4, I made the longest losers run out of anybody, so I know I can win games and like push forward. It's just got to take it one step at a time. I still have to wait for 2 more matches, I think, but once my next opponent is settled, I'll focus on them first, and then whatever comes after that is what I'll see. But yeah, like I said, I have full confidence in myself. I can make it as far as I want to, so...
Well, fair enough. Again, GG's to both of you. That was a fun competitive race. Sadly, it ended with a bit of a casino for Cola in that castle ferry. But overall, it was really exciting. Both of you played really well with the stuff that you got. And there's another race later on today, I think 3 hours from now, between Mr. Martin and Rupee.
Yep, gonna be another good one.
Sure. That's another couple of really scary names. Like I said, there's just nothing. There's nobody in this tournament that's not really strong.
Yeah, everybody's
and good. I guess have we paid off the prediction and everything? I think we're ready to.
That was paid off.
Unless there's something else that either of you guys want to say. Shoutouts to the trackers, Disler and Miraba. And of course, shoutouts to Matt and to everyone who's been helping behind the scenes.
And to you yourself for figuring out the logic and not losing money on that bomb bag.
It's not about the money, it's about my sanity. I was going crazy. There had to be something in the first 2 checks in Fire Temple. I just knew it. It had to be that way. But yeah, this was fun. And I guess that's
Certainly
it.
was fun.
Yep. Thanks for the restream as usual. I really enjoy racing and playing, and it's always a blast.
Yeah, it was fun.
GG's.
And besides the second tournament match happening tonight, there's also possibly a Freaky Friday race that's going to be happening at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time, if you want to check that out too.
Do we know the settings?
We do, but I do not know what they are. It's probably something crazy.
Fair enough. To be expected, yes.
Other than that, we'll see you in a little bit for some more tournament or other action, hopefully. And thank you for tuning in.
Bye, everyone.